Hi, kiddos. Thanks for coming to Grandpa Ken's reading room. As always, I am joined by friends, but my most important friends are you guys. So don't ever stop. Just keep coming back. We're going to be putting in new books all the time from Disney and from Bluey and all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you join us. And today we're going to have one of the first movies I ever saw in my life as a little boy living outside Detroit, Michigan, was Bambi. And that's what I'm going to read today. Bambi. Bambi does have some sad parts in it, just like the Lion King. But we all need to understand that it's life, that sad things happen, and it's okay if you are around your grown-ups and other brothers and sisters, and when bad things happen, you all love one another and get through it. Now, Bambi. One spring morning, in a little hidden forest glade, a fawn was born. All the birds and animals came to see him, for he was a very special fawn. "What will you name the young prince?" asked Thumper the rabbit. "I'll call him Bambi," the mother answered. See? They all came to see, but they called him, "What will you name the prince?" What does that mean? The forest was filled with friends. The possums and the squirrels and the robins and the wrens were all said, "Hello, young prince," when Bambi walked down the leafy path with his mother. And Thumper and Flower the skunk came out to play with Bambi nearly every day. The skunk was called Flower. I always thought that was funny. One morning, Bambi's mother took him down a path where he had never been. At the end of the path, there was a wide green meadow. What a wonderful place the meadow is and was. There was so much room to run and jump. Bambi leaped into the air 3-4 times. When he stopped to catch his breath, another fawn came up to him. "Hello," she said softly. Bambi tried to hide behind his mother. "Don't be afraid, Bambi," she said. "This is Fallon. Her mother is your Aunt Ina." Soon Bambi and Fallon were racing around the meadow together. See? He had a cousin to play with. Yeah. It's always good to have cousins. Suddenly, they heard hoofbeats. A herd of stags came galloping across the meadow, led by the great prince of the forest. The great prince was older and bigger and stronger than the other stags, and he was very brave and very wise. He said just one word, "Man!" All the birds and animals followed him back into the woods. Bambi was at his side. They heard frightening, roaring noises behind him as they ran. Oh no. They were afraid because men were coming, probably deer hunting with their guns, huh? Later, when Bambi and his mother were safely back in their thicket, his mother explained. "That was Man in the meadow, Bambi. He brings danger and death to the forest with his long stick that roars and spurts flames. Someday you'll understand." The months passed by and the days grew cool, as they always do, and winter was coming. One morning when Bambi woke up, everything was covered with white. "It's snow," Mother said. "Go ahead and walk on it." Bambi stepped out and saw Thumper sliding on the frozen pond. "Come on," Thumper called. "The water's stiff." Bambi trotted onto the ice. His front leg shot forward, his rear leg slipped back, and down he went crash. "That's okay," said Thumper, laughing. "We can play something else wintry fun." See him and his friend Thumper on the ice? His front legs went out in front of him, his back legs went out behind him, and he was laying on his belly on the ice. But winter was also a hard time for the forest animals. Food was scarce. Sometimes Bambi and his mother had nothing to eat but bark on the trees. One day, when it seemed there was no food left anywhere, Bambi's mother found a few pale blades of grass growing under the snow. They were nibbling the grass when they suddenly smelled man. As they lifted their heads, they heard a deafening roar. "Quick," said Bambi's mother, "run for the thicket." Bambi darted away. He heard his mother's hoofbeats behind him, and then another roar from man's guns. Terrified, he ran faster. He was afraid. He knew man was coming. He probably also knew that it was deer season, and that's when men hunt deers. When Bambi reached the thicket, his mother was nowhere in sight. He sniffed for her scent. There was nothing. "Mother? Mother? Mother," he called, racing wildly out into the forest. "Mother, Mother, where are you?" The great prince of the forest appeared beside him. "Your mother can't be with you anymore," the prince said. "You must learn to walk alone." Bambi didn't understand, but he knew he must listen to the great prince. In silence, he followed the old stag through the snowy forest. Yeah, that was really sad. He lost his mommy, but his daddy was there. At last, spring arrived. The forest was turning green and leafy, and Bambi was growing into a handsome buck. One day, Bambi met a beautiful, graceful doe in the woods. "Hello," he said. "Who are you?" "Don't you remember me?" the doe asked. "I'm Fallon." Gently, she licked Bambi's face. Suddenly, Rono, a buck with big antlers, pushed his way between them. He began to nudge Fallon down the path. "Fallon is coming with me," he said. Uh-oh. See? Uh-oh. I think there's going to be two guys here in a fight. Bambi charged forward and butted Rono with all his might. Again and again and again, he and Rono crashed into one another, forehead to forehead, fighting, pounding. A prong broke from one of Rono's antlers, and he lost his balance. He fell to the ground, hurting his shoulder. Uh-oh. Yeah, they were fighting. No one ever wins in a fight. Everybody gets hurt. It's not good. Rono limped off by himself, and Bambi and Fallon walked down the path together. That night, Bambi and Fallon went out to the meadow and stood in the moonlight, listening to the east wind and the west wind calling to each other. One morning in the autumn, Bambi sniffed the scent of man again. As he ran toward Fallon, he smelled something else. Smoke. The old prince came and said, "The forest has caught fire from the flames of man's campfires. We must go to the river." Bambi turned to Fallon. "Run, run," he said. "Run to the river." Fallon raced off as Bambi and the prince ran to warn the other animals. Forest fires are really, really bad. Like my friend here, right there, that's Smokey the Bear. He says, remember, only you can prevent forest fires. At last, Bambi and the prince struggled across the rushing river. When they were safely underside, Fallon came running to Bambi. They stood with the other animals on the bank and watched the flames destroy their forest home. "When the forest is green again, I'll be very old," said the prince. "Bambi, you must take my place then." Bambi bowed his head because he now knew that's why they'd always called him the prince, the young prince. When spring came, green leaves and grass and flowers covered the scars left by the fire. At the thicket, The squirrels and rabbits and birds were peering through the undergrowth at Fallon and 2 spotted fawns. And not far away was Bambi, the proud father and the new great prince of the forest. See, he's up on the mountain. It has a good ending because it's Bambi. Remember, we all need our families. So who your grown-ups are and your brothers and your sisters, hug them and love them and enjoy having a family. You guys and gals, you kiddos all, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.